Hello, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me for Junk Journal July. Today I'm covering 7 days of Junk Journal July. I've decided that it was best for me to do one video per week with this collaboration, and just because I have so much going on my channel. So at any rate, we're going to be doing days 14 through days 20, and the prompts are weather, homemade, petal, aged, free, tag, and picture. Day 1 is weather, and I was inspired by the card that I have on this page, and it has a quote on it. And it says, "Give me the sun and the sea and a little spot to just be me." I love the beach, and I like it when there's nice weather when I want to go to the beach. And especially in Florida, you don't want to go to the beach when there is not nice weather. We are the lightning capital of the world. So I was inspired to create this page with a beach theme. This was day 14, and the prompt was weather. I started off with a map that I had done a little bit of jelly plate over top of it. Then I used my inspiration piece, which was the card with the quote on it. I used a image of the beach from a Coastal Living magazine, and then I fussy cut out the dad and the children as well and added that. Well, let's see what I have come up with for day 15. The prompt for day 15 is homemade, which made me think of food. Now, it doesn't have to be food. We could have like homemade clothing or whatever. But my brain went to food. So I went through my Coastal Living magazines and I found this tablescape. You can see it's got lobster and the salads and all that. I went ahead and I added a nice big drink to it because that looks like homemade lemonade to me. I added a recipe, and then I put a home on the bottom of the page. In the corner on the bottom, I've put some fresh cut herbs, and then at the top, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Old Bay spice, but when I was a kid and we would make crabs, we always used that. So I put that up at the top, and then I cut out of the magazine a phrase. And it says, "What to serve friends and family," which I thought was perfect for this spread. I'm adding a tag with the date and the theme on it. And I want to be sure to mention to you guys that Junk Journal July and Junk Journal January are hosted by Meg of Meg Journals in collaboration with Get Messy Art. Meg has an entire list of collaborators, so there's somebody participating each and every day, as well as people like me that are jumping in and enjoying the fun. Coming up for day 16 is the prompt petal. And of course, we could go in a lot of directions with this. But I decided I wanted to do something, I want to try to do something a little bit unique. So I've got this page out of a 1954 magazine. I really am starting to use my stash of old vintage ephemera and goodies. And this one, it's just got such a vibe to it, you guys. I mean, it's totally 50s, and I absolutely love it. So it's a garden. It's basically like there's photos of a garden, but there's also drawings of a garden. And this particular garden is in Washington, D.C. So I'm starting my base with this piece from the magazine. And while I was looking for images of flowers, because flowers have petals, I came across my cat magazine, and I thought, I definitely want to add something here because this is really whimsical. So I've cut out the cat so it'll fit right on the corner of the page. And I did not glue down his ear because I knew I wanted to tuck some flowers under his ear. And I felt like it was still missing something. So then I saw the sunflower because this happened to be on my desk. And I thought, oh, it's perfect. It matches the cat's eyes. So I went ahead and added that. Now there's some plain areas on the page that I went ahead and stenciled some polka dots on it. And then I wrote the prompt and the date, and here it is. I'm super happy with how fun this turned out. You guys make sure to let me know what you think. And make sure to let me know if you're participating in Junk Journal July as well. The next day is aged. I had some scraps from the magazine page that I just used. Like I said, it was created in the 1950s, so I would consider that to be aged. And so I'm putting that down as a base. And here's the other scrap as well. And I think I've got one more. So I'm just going to cover the page because it was plain white. Going to cover the page with these wonderful images, and then we're going to build it up from there. I had decided that since I had some cat images out, I would go ahead and use another one. Now I want to go ahead and have fun with this as well, and hopefully this turns out whimsical. You can see that I'm cutting the cat's paw. I'm not cutting it all the way off. I'm just making it so that I can tuck an image underneath it. I've got this little girl that I have cut out from the magazine, and I'm going to tuck her under the cat's paw. So she is getting a nice big hug from the kitty cat. Now, I'm using 3 images of people. One's a little girl, then there's, let's say, maybe middle-aged woman, and then there's an older woman. And that's what I'm using for the prompt, aged. The cat's just there for whimsy. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and glue the paw down so everything stays in place. And then I've got our middle-aged lady, and I'm going to go ahead, as you could see, I fussy cut everything not on camera, so this could go a little bit more quickly. So I've got her, I was able to get her hand sort of like over his ear, so it almost looks like she's scratching the cat's ear, which I think is funny. And then we have our older lady, and she is apparently climbing up the cat's paw. Now I want to tell you, I fussy cut her. She was originally riding a bike, and I just cut around the bike, and I just think this is so very funny. So I'm just gluing down the paw and making sure the lady's glued down, and there we have it. I do very much enjoy having fun with collage. I feel like it's a way that I can allow my sense of humor to show through, and this one was a lot of fun to make. My friend Recrafted by Carol, I just have to mention, she has an amazing gift for adding a lot of humor in her collages, so if you want to laugh out loud, she is definitely a channel to check out. For day 18, the prompt is free, and I'm starting with a beautiful page that came out of a collage book that my friend Virginia, her channel name is Virginia Author Speaker, and she sent it to me. It's just so beautiful. It has so many coastal images in it. So this one has water with a pink and blue sky and some seagulls. I think I mentioned that the prompt is free, and I'm using this background because when I go to the beach and I'm around the ocean, I do feel free. It's such a wonderful feeling for me. So I have added this woman who is doing yoga. And you know, yoga is something I really enjoy doing. I love stretching, and that helps me physically feel free. So the beach helps me mentally feel free. But stretching and doing yoga, that helps me physically feel free and loosen everything up. Now the other thing that makes me feel free is reading books, and that's what those little squares are that I put on the page. Those are images of books, and when I was a little girl and I learned how to read, it was just such an escape for me. And I love reading because it is an escape. And mostly what I read is not fiction. I usually read things that are true and educational almost, but it's still very freeing. I'm adding the word free with stencils, but true confession, I should have started further over on the left-hand side of the page. I end up having to do the last E really getting close to the spine, and that's fine, but I should have definitely started further over. I'm going to use this stencil for a straight line because I'm going to go around each one of the books just to give it like a little frame. It'll help it pop a little bit. They're sort of just laying on the page, and I didn't really like the way they're just sitting there. So I feel like if I frame them out a little bit, it might add a little something to it. I'm going to show this to you up close in just a second. I'm definitely glad that I added the, the ink around the books. I do think it gives it like another dimension. So I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out, and it definitely speaks to me personally. Day 19 is tag, and that's coming up right now. I pulled this page out of a magazine, and actually I was going to use the other side, but the more I looked at this side, the more I liked it. It's got this lime green on the walls, and it just, I don't know, it just spoke to me. I just thought it was so pretty, and I think it looks really nice next to the purple. Now this tag I grabbed out of my garage. My husband had ordered something that came with this caution tag, and I thought, oh, well, that can't go in the trash. I can definitely use it. So I grabbed it, not realizing I would use it for Junk Journal July. But at any rate, here we are. So here's an image of these row houses, and look at their bright colors. So I'm definitely putting that on this side of the tag. I'm going to cover the caution and all of the words and gluing the images of the row houses onto the tag. I'm going to leave the other side blank in case I decide to journal on it at some point in time. While I'm cutting this out, I wanted to say thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you coming and spending some time with me, and I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you don't mind that I am doing 7 prompts in one day. It's just what's fitting into my life right now. And this is such a fun collaboration. I definitely did not want to miss it. Now, I am working on putting a pocket here, and I grabbed these butterflies. This was a scrap, and I chose those because I felt like the colors went well together. I'm inking the edges of the tag, but I'm not done with this tag yet. I want to go ahead and put some lace on it. So I'm going to put this small lace, a strip of it on the bottom because that's going to cover some words, and then I'm going to do a strip on the top, and that's going to cover the words that are on the top. I am using hot glue to adhere this lace. Now if you remember when you first saw the tag, it had a hole in it, and I've ended up covering the hole with the magazine page and the lace, but I punched a hole back through, and now I'm adding a piece of trim, and I chose yellow because I think it's going to go really nicely with the page that this is going in, but also one of the row houses is yellow. I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and add 3 sequins on top of the lace at the bottom of the page. I'm using gem tack to adhere them. I've also decided to add a strip of lace down the side of this page. So in just a second, I'm going to show you a close-up of everything, and then we're going to do day 20. I love how this tag turned out, and I often forget that magazine images can look great in our everyday crafting. I don't typically use them when I'm creating a junk journal or whatever, but I really like the way it turned out. So here's the page with the pocket, the lace going down the edge. I think the background is so pretty. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Now let's move on to day 20. The prompt for day 20 is picture, and you can see that I have added a piece of scrapbook paper, which was a scrap, and I've got a piece of scrap vintage music paper that I had used a little bit of blue dye as well as coffee on. I want to cover the white space, so I have grabbed a piece of, it's a small piece of paper, and these are great for collaging. They have all different sort of prints and stuff on them. They're like the 4x6 paper pads that we can get, and I got some for Christmas, and they've been just great to work with. So as you can see, I am adding that to the page. I've harvested some pictures from a book about Aristotle Onassis, and this is a picture of his son, and I think his son's wife. And that's what I'm using as our prompt today. So it's a black and white picture, and that is our focal point. To add some interest, I have torn another piece of paper and glued that to the corner of the picture. And now I'm going to grab my stencils and do a little bit of stenciling. I feel like this page needs a little something at the top. There's like this blank space here. So I found these cascading flowers, and I think they're perfect over top of the picture. For a little extra touch, I'm adding a small flower right on the top center. I want to fill in the bottom a little bit too, so I've got some flowers that I'm adding. And then I have this little sticker, and it has a bird on it that I'm going to put on the left-hand side. I have some of these little puffy birds, puffy stickers, so I'm going to go ahead and put that up here and just fill in a little bit of that blank space. I have this large and sign, or yeah, I don't know what to call it, but anyway, it's and I can't imagine when I'm ever going to use it, so I thought I'd go ahead and use it in this collage. I think it works well with it, and I have like 3 of them, so I might as well. And it sort of unites her and him. Well, that's it for this week, my friends. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. See you soon.